Coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
Hello, American families. Welcome to this week's episode of The Home Defense Show. I'm your host, Skip Coryell. And if you love your family, care about them deeply, and want to learn how to protect them in every facet of your life, then you've come to the right place. Today, we are going local. In segments 2 and 3, we are going to be interviewing Arnie Conklin, the president of the Barry County Conservation Club. That's right here in West Michigan, in Hastings. And we're going to be talking to him all about Barry County Conservation Club, everything that they offer. They got a lot of good stuff that they offer. Pistol shooters, shotgun shooters, rifle shooters, you name it. If it's a firearm, then they've got something for you and your family. All right, and that will be coming up in segments 2 and 3. Before we get going too far, I want to elicit some prayers for my friend Larry Jackson. Larry, as you know, he is the owner of Elite Firearms, and he does a lot of custom gun work. I sent a lot of students to Larry. But Larry had a heart attack last week. This is his second heart attack. And he is, even as I speak, he is in surgery right now. I think yesterday when he talked to me, he said they were going to be doing 5 or 6 bypasses. So, if you are a friend of Larry's, even if you're not, if you believe in prayer, whisper a nice prayer for Larry Jackson in his surgery and in his recovery, because it is going to be a long, hard road for Larry. He will appreciate your prayers, I'm sure. All right, fishing season is coming up, folks. Fishing season is coming up. And I bought a brand new fishing pole. Let me pull it up here just a second. I've got it right here. It's still in the packaging, but it's camouflage. That was very important to me. A camouflage rod and reel. It's probably not the best, but I had this gift card left over from Christmas to Cabela's. So I went to Cabela's and I picked this thing up. What I needed, because I'm so stinking busy, busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. Every year I say, I got to fish more. I got to go fishing more. I got to relax, And it's like, it's almost stressful trying to find the time to relax. And that's just nutty, right? But I thought, you know what? Sometimes I have a half an hour to go fishing, but it takes a half hour just to get the stuff ready, right? So I bought this. It's called the True Timber Camo Pocket Combo. Now, it doesn't actually fit in my pocket, but it's one of those telescoping rods. And at full extension, it's 30 inches long. Light action fiberglass rod. Retracts to 18 inches for easy storage. And it has a metal micro spin cast reel, whatever the flying lip lock that is. 6-pound test line, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm thinking I'll just rig this thing up and I'll just stick it in my truck. Stick it in my Honda Pilot, and I can just stick it right under the seat. And if I get 20 minutes where I can go fishing, it looks like it's probably not going to cast real far, simply because, the rod is really stiff because it's hollow and the fishing line goes right through the center of it. I'm guessing it probably doesn't cast real well, but for creeks and rivers, I'm thinking this just might be the trick. So, set that down right there. As soon as it warms up just a little bit, maybe next week, I will look for my opportunity to go ahead and put some worms on that thing and see if I can get some, maybe some horned dace or some shiners or bluegills. I tend to catch a lot of warmouth bass when I'm in fishing in rivers. I think those are the ones with they've got the red eye, really bizarre looking, like a zombie fish, right? But anyways, I'm looking forward to that. And then of course, mushroom hunting. Oh gosh, you realize in probably 3 or 4 weeks I'm going to be out there, and I will be collecting fungus en masse. I'm just really, really looking forward to that. All right. Well, enough personal stuff. We got a lot of good stuff coming up. Well, I'm about halfway done with Concealed Carry for Christians. If we have time at the end of the show, I'll read you an excerpt from that. Let me go ahead and read off some of the chapters here. Some of the chapters I have finished are My Brother's Keeper, Waking Up is Hard to Do, Criminal Actors and King David, Courageous, The Company You Keep, Spiritual Fitness, and Physical Fitness. And I've got, that's about 7, and there's 7 more that I haven't written yet, so I'm halfway through. Church Safety Teams, A Smile and a Kind Word, Pride Cometh Before a Fall, The Warrior's Creed, Addiction and Self-Defense, Mental Illness, and Put on the Whole Armor. So I am halfway done with that. In 30 days, that's what I'm looking to have that thing finished. So I'm just working my little Watusi off, trying to get that done for you guys, because we've got that book signing coming up, Memorial Weekend, the Saturday of Memorial Day, this year at Center Shot Indoor Gun Range over indoor. And of course, they are one of our sponsors now. So save that date, the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, and come on out there, and you can be one of the first to get this brand new book that I'm writing. Okay, the news. There's tons in the news, right? Last week we had that, 50 people killed in that New Zealand mosque, and already they are saying, hey, we need to ban more guns. The guns we have banned didn't do the job, so let's just keep banning more and more guns. Here we are on bearingarms.com. Tom Knighton has written a nice article here. Here's why New Zealand's new gun laws can't come to the U.S. And of course, a lot of those on the far left, the anti-gunners, are already crying out, hey, we can't let what happened in New Zealand happen in America, so we have to ban more guns. Right now, the American anti-gunners are applauding New Zealand. They're thrilled with the country for their knee-jerk reaction to last week's mass shooting that left 49 people dead. Many are asking, why can't those anti-gun proposals come to American shores? I'll give you one good reason. Ostensibly to prevent future mass shootings. Well, there are a few reasons why they can't, but there's only one really big one. Okay, Section 3 of the order, effectively clarifying legislation for New Zealand's 1983 Arms Act, rules that most semi-automatic firearms are now to be regarded as military-style weapons. The order declares that illegal firearms will now include A. Semi-automatic firearms that are capable of being used in combination with a detachable magazine other than one designed to hold a .22 inch or less rimfire cartridge, a .22 caliber, that is capable of holding more than 5 cartridges, a semi-automatic firearm that is a shotgun and that is capable of being used in combination with a detachable magazine that is capable of holding more than 5 cartridges. 5 rounds is not a lot, folks. I mean, so, that little Kel-Tec that you have, the little baby Glock, if that magazine will hold 6, it is a military-style weapon. Oh, and they want to bring this to the United States, huh? I think Charlton Heston had something to say about that. What did he say? You can pry it from my cold, dead hands? I think that's appropriate here. 5 cartridges means 5 rounds, and a semi-automatic firearm that is capable of being used in combination with a detachable magazine means the vast majority of handguns relied upon by Americans to protect their families and homes. Man, that's a lot of guns, folks. This is the key issue. Such a ban in America would explicitly conflict with the Supreme Court's ruling in the most relevant Second Amendment case, District of Columbia versus Heller. That's Dick Heller. Dick Heller, he spoke at the Second Amendment March back in 2010. Super guy. I had dinner with him the night before the speech. He's a really nice guy, down-to-earth guy. And don't take my word for it. Read Antonin Scalia's rationale for why most semi-automatic handguns used to defend American homes are constitutionally protected. Quote, there are many reasons that a citizen may prefer a handgun for home defense. It is easier to store in a location that is readily accessible in an emergency. It cannot easily be redirected or wrested away from an attacker, right? You can shoot from a retention position. It is easier to use for those without the upper body strength to lift and aim a long gun. Again, that's true. It can be pointed at a burglar with one hand while the other hand dials the police. I tell you what, for me, I'm either shooting or dialing. I'm not going to try and do them both at the same time. It's hard enough just to shoot. Whatever the reason, handguns are the most popular weapon chosen by Americans for self-defense in the home, and a complete prohibition of their use is invalid. It's more than invalid, folks. That's a big issue. That particular article does point out that while the court has refused to hear cases involving magazine capacity, this is a bit different. They're right. You see, while I argue that even a 10-round magazine capacity is unconstitutional, at least those laws don't ban firearms capable of using a larger magazine. Words matter when it comes to laws, even in New Zealand. It seems that the use of the word capable means anything that can accept a larger magazine is soon to be forbidden. As noted above, that would render most semi-automatic handguns as illegal, seeing as how pretty much all of them are capable of accepting a magazine of greater than 5 rounds. For American anti-gunners, that's a small price to pay. Few of them seem to adhere to the idea that an individual has a right to defend themselves with lethal force. If a few innocent people have to die so that they can live in their utopia, that's a price they're willing to pay. I bet they are. Oh, that reminds me of what that movie, Shrek, okay? About the ogre, right? He says the king is sending them out to slay the dragon, and he says, you may die, but that's a price that I'm willing to pay. Thank you, government. Thank you, New Zealand. Luckily for us, they'll never get that utopia thanks to the Second Amendment. Never's a long time. I wouldn't say that. But anyways, nice article by Tom Knighton from BearingArms.com. We cannot let this happen to America. When you look at the 2020 Democrat candidates that are running now, man, these people, they would pry your gun from your cold, dead hands. If they had the power to do it, they would do it. Oh, man. So I don't think we need to take anything for granted at all. At all. All right, let's see. Do we have room for one more article here? Oh, here's one. This just came up. This is from RT.com out of Montreal, titled Moment of Stabbing Attack on Canadian Priest During Mass Caught on Camera. And I watched the video of this. It's really bizarre. A man assaulted and injured a Montreal priest as he was conducting the morning mass at St. Joseph Oratory. The moment of the stabbing attack in Canada's biggest church was caught on video. The footage, which some viewers may find disturbing, shows Father Claude Grau conducting the ceremony when a man dressed in black clothing and a white baseball cap rapidly approaches him. The man chases the 77-year-old director of the oratory from behind the pulpit, knocking down one of the candles on his way. He then appears to strike the priest twice, knocking him down. I saw the knife. It was a pretty decent-sized knife. Father Grau rises immediately while two people confront the attacker, who makes no attempt to flee the scene. I believe this priest was like 77 years old. He moved pretty quickly for a 77-year-old, but when a guy's chasing you with a butcher knife, I could probably move faster too. Churchgoers are heard screaming in the background as the altercation takes place. It was a really bizarre video because it's like this guy runs up onto stage. Nobody tried to stop him. He's up there. The priest, as soon as he sees a knife, he starts to run. And then he gets caught, and he's stabbed twice, knocked to the ground. And then a couple of people come up on stage, and they start talking to the criminal. And, what are you going to say? And one even touched his arm. The guy, why he didn't just stab other people, I don't know. He's already stabbed one guy, a priest. It was interesting reading the comments online. Everyone automatically assumed that it was a altar boy who had been molested. And now, granted, yeah, the Catholic churches, they've had some problems with that, right? I mean, for decades, maybe centuries. I don't know. But now that the internet is here, you can't hide that stuff, right? So yeah, certainly there's a lot of priests who have, become pedophiles. But to just assume that that's what happened, that's a really big stretch, in my mind. I noticed that they haven't released the guy's name. And every time not every time, but most often in America when that happens, what do you usually find out? You usually find out that he was a Muslim. And I know people will say, Skip, that's a racist comment. Well, Muslim isn't a race. It's a religion, okay? So I'm not racist. But, I look at the picture of this guy, and he's got a black beard, going from the sideburns all the way down across his chin, and no mustache. And so, I don't know, in my mind, either he's Amish or he's a Muslim. And because who else has a beard like that? I mean, that's just really bizarre. But anyways, we will find out. Actually, we may not find out. They are holding this one really close to the vest, and this is coming out of Canada. But any of the listeners, if you know anything about this, if you can find anything online, I did a search. I cannot find out anything about the guy who stabbed this priest. It's like they're not releasing the name, nothing about him. So that's suspicious in my mind. I'd like to know more about this. And boy, I just want to tell you, watch this video. If you're on a church safety team, watch this video, because this is how not to handle a stabbing attack in your church. Obviously, in Canada, you can't even own, a pistol unless you've got some connections. So, and you certainly can't take them into church. So, hey, that means knives are as good as guns. Okay. All right. We are out of time for this segment, but when we come back, we will be speaking with Arnie Conklin, president of Barry County Conservation Club. We're going to be talking about pistols. We're going to be talking about rifles, and we're going to be talking about shotguns. All kinds of good, fun, wonderful stuff. A great day to be an American in America. Sunshine out there, springtime. Oh, yeah, baby. All right, 2-minute break. While we're away, check out our sponsors, firearmslegal.com/MidwestTactical, and then elitefirearms.us, and of course, centershotgunrange.com. This is Skip Coryell on the Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
My name is C.J. Coryell. Welcome to the Home Defense Show with my dad, Skip Coryell. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
This is Skip Coryell from the Home Defense Show, and I want you to have the very best handgun that money can buy. And that's why we recommend you visit Larry Jackson at Elite Firearms and Training. As a concealed carry instructor, I see people every week out on the range with guns they can't shoot properly because they didn't know what to buy. That will never happen at Elite Firearms and Training. Larry Jackson will personally fit you with your very own personal defense pistol. So call Larry Jackson today at 616-299-8715 or visit elitefirearms.us. Would you like to take your tactical and marksmanship training to the next level? If the answer is yes, you need to check out Center Shot Indoor Gun Range just south of Grand Rapids, conveniently located off US 131. Center Shot is one of the most advanced firing ranges in Michigan. Center Shot firing lanes have nearly 100 customizable shooting programs to make you better no matter what your skill level. Our advanced lanes allow a more immersive training experience to enhance your senses. Controlled lighting and target movement mean that you get the best practice and most fun out of Center Shot Indoor Gun Range. Memberships are available for as low as $150. Center Shot also offers a 10% discount to U.S. military veterans. So, no matter what the weather, hot, cold, or in between, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range is always a perfect 70 degrees. This is where I train every week, and so should you. Find out more by going to centershotgunrange.com or call them at 616-371-7468. Stay safe, and I'll see you at Center Shot Indoor Gun Range.
This is Colonel Danny Gillum. I host Frontlines of Freedom, a weekly syndicated military talk radio show. One of my co-hosts is Skip Coryell, the host of this show. We cover things that impact military and veteran communities, and we do it from the veteran's perspective. The show is broadcast across the nation and is also available as a podcast on our website, frontlinesoffreedom.com. Please join Skip and me weekly on Frontlines of Freedom.
Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. This is your host, Skip Coryell. We're going local today. Right here in West Michigan, we have a great gun club, and it's called Berry County Conservation Club. And we are speaking today with the president of Berry County Conservation Club, Arnie Conklin. Arnie, welcome to the Home Defense Show.
Thanks, Skip. Good morning. How you doing?
Oh, well, right now, I'm not supposed to be drinking this, but I'm drinking a mocha frappuccino. I'm on a diet. I'm doing okay, but I thought, I'd reward myself just a little bit of caffeine and probably a whole lot of sugar. But hey, I'll have a good workout today, and hopefully we'll take these calories off again. But it's a nice sunshiny day. We are deep into the bowels of spring now. I see the sun is out there this morning, and so I'm excited. And boy, you guys at Berry County Conservation Club, you must be getting ready for another big season there out on the gun range.
Yeah, Skip, we got quite a few projects going on that we're finishing up from last year, so we can get them going this spring. Did quite a bit of work for the 4-H kids, putting in a new target archery range, and that's just about wrapped up. And we're about halfway through a 3D archery range, so they can practice for that, and they can compete in the state competition for that. Right now they can't compete in the state competition because they have no place to practice. So we're putting in a 3D archery range for them with the help of Bob's Gun and Tackle donated quite a bit of funds for us, and I got some help with the labor part of it. So those projects are coming along good, plus our ongoing projects that we've got going on to keep the place comfortable for everybody and appealing for everybody and make it so that it's, I don't know, I don't want to say acceptable, but very friendly place to come and shoot.
Yeah. Now, Arnie, this, I notice that big plywood wall there that you have there. That's the 4-H range?
Yeah, that's the regular target range. That's set up for 10, 15, 20 yards for the 4-H kids. And then I also put a 30-yard bay in for our normal members that want to come and practice before bow season. I'm going to have some targets put in there. We have to put like a rubber membrane on the front of the wall, so if somebody does miss their target, that they don't have to chase their arrow into the swamp.
Well, that would be me, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, just for my purposes, does the archery range, does that include crossbow or not?
The archery range that we built I don't believe it would stop a crossbow. So there's a big sign there that says, no firearms or crossbows allowed, please.
Okay.
If you do want to shoot your crossbow, you're more than welcome to bring it and one of your crossbow rated shooting blocks or practice blocks, they call them, and do that in one of our regular pistol bays. That way, if you do happen to miss, there's a berm behind it to keep everything contained.
And of course, no exploding targets on the archery range.
Well, there's no exploding targets anywhere on our gun range. But yeah,
I know. That was a joke, Arnie.
Yeah, especially the archery range, yes.
Well, I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, I'm out there and I was teaching an advanced class there in one of the pistol bays. And I'm talking, and boy, we just heard the most hellacious explosion in the next bay over, and I actually jumped. And then you see this mushroom cloud rising up about 50 feet into the air, and I thought, what the heck is going on over there? And I go over there, and of course, it's two of my former students, being bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much tannerite do you need to blow up on a public range? And so I think that was and then probably about 5 minutes after that, one of the property owners from the neighboring property came over and talked to me about that. And now I think I passed that on to you guys. And
Yep.
But before that, it really wasn't an issue that I know of, was it?
No. I personally don't have anything against tannerite, but I don't think it really has a place at a public range. If you want to play with it in your backyard, you're more than welcome to. But, yeah, we got some complaints from neighbors on both sides that they both got horses. The horses are used to normal shooting, even 50 cal rifle shooting, and they don't get really jumpy. But when that thing went off, they kind of freaked out a little bit, yeah.
That's right.
That prompted the signs that we had made up that, please no exploding targets allowed.
Well, and that is very, very reasonable because, there's liability aspect of that and then the safety aspect because, there's always that one guy that's going to see, well, how much tannerite can we blow up?
Right.
And that's the kind of thing you should be doing on your own property, under your own homeowner's insurance. So, I don't know of any public range that'll let you bring tannerite in there and just start blowing things up. But, after tannerite, what is it then? C4? I mean, geez.
Well, I have got a couple requests. The state police called me one day, and the bomb squad had found some ordnance that they didn't know how dangerous it was, and they wanted to know if they could go back into one of the bays and touch it off. And I said, well, I suppose if it's a one-time deal, and you've got no other place to do it, I guess it would be the safest place around. You're surrounded on three sides by dirt, so So apparently they did that, but it was a dud, so it was a non-issue. But that was kind of a strange request that I got when I was driving home from work one day. So they called me up and said, "We've got a bomb. Can we go set it off at your club?" And I'm like, well.
Well, I know you guys support local law enforcement there, and as far as I know, from the inception of the club, it's like in the warmer months, spring, summer, and fall, when I'm out there, it's not uncommon at all to see police units out there training. How does that work there at the club, Arnie?
We currently have 4 law enforcement agencies that do their qualifying and training there of their officers, and we may be adding a 5th. I talked to the Grand Rapids Police Department's sniper team supervisor, and they were looking for a place to do their practicing. The Michigan State Police SR team, Special Response Team, they do their practice and their training, run their drills and everything there, and they practice once a month out there year-round.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Berry County Sheriff and the Hastings City Police, they also practice there, and they do their qualifying, and they have like a week-long practicing qualifying week, like twice during the year, and then a couple of other times. So when we did the pistol bays in the back, we had a request from the law enforcement agencies to put in a larger bay so that they could qualify 8 officers at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So the first bay, when you drive back through there, the first bay, I believe, is 105 feet wide, and they can actually, have no problem qualifying 8 officers at a time up there. So that's kind of not reserved for them. Anybody's welcome to use it, but if you're there and you are using it and all of a sudden you see a whole bunch of cop cars start rolling in, they've probably got dibs on it on the calendar.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to move down a bay or two and let them have that. But I know that you've used that larger bay with some of your classes, and it seems to work out pretty well.
Yeah, actually it does. I tend to use the larger bay in the wintertime, and there's very seldom police officers there in the wintertime, and that allows some of my students to park up closer to where they shoot so that they can go ahead and get warmed up. Because let's face it, we had some cold weather. This last month, that polar vortex came in, and
oh yeah,
when I run a concealed carry class, if it's 10 degrees, I do it in 10 degrees. If it's 40, I do it in 40. So,
right.
But if they're not warm, their fingers are frozen off, then it is not safe. So we try and keep it safe. And you guys have been very, very good to me, over the years. Folks, we are speaking with Arnie Conklin, president of Berry County Conservation Club. Now, Arnie, I appreciate all that you have done for me and allowed me to do for the community. You've got the 3D range. When is the 3D range going to be opening up?
Well, we're finishing the trail, the main trail through the woods. We've got quite a few selected shooting lanes picked out already. So it probably, I'm shooting for the end of April for that to be finished and complete. I have to finish building a bridge to cross the small creek that's back there and finalize the shooting lanes, and then I'm shooting for the end of April for that to be open and up and running. And what I would like to do this summer to see what kind of interest we get is maybe twice a month, every other Saturday kind of a thing, set the targets up and set it up for just anybody who wants to come in and shoot, pay $5 to replace the targets and, shoot a few rounds through down the path and all the different lanes. Right now we're planning on setting up just 15 shooting lanes, and I expect to expand that to 30 and then to 45 eventually. 30 would probably be fairly soon. I'm hoping by the end of the year, and then the 45 we'll have to take a look at that to see if we want to go, and then actually have some shoots and have people come in and have competitions and stuff. So
yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. I primarily built it for the 4-H kids, but it's going to be something that all members and guests can partake in. It'll be a lot of fun. There used to be one there years ago, and then the interest kind of dropped off, and the people that were in charge of it kind of fell by the wayside, I guess, and lost interest. So there's been new interest sparked, and it's something I'm going to task the 4-H kids with maintaining and kind of running it to a degree, and that'll help a lot with the labor part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
hey, they're young and strong, right? Take advantage of that.
Exactly. And there's a lot of interest in them. I know they've got quite a following with the 4-H kids, and they meet up there every Wednesday evening around 6. I believe from whenever the weather straightens out a little bit, mid-April, all the way through the summer. They have their state competition shoot usually in July or August, and then they do a little practice later in the fall, and then they're pretty much wrapped up for the year. So
yeah,
they'll be starting up here soon. The other things that we've got, the action pistol group has been coming on really strong, and that's a lot of fun. That's Tuesday nights at 6. The guy that was in charge and is in charge, the vice president of the club, Bruce Bueller, isn't also in charge of our cowboy action shooters. So he is familiar with setting up scenarios and setting up stages, I guess you could say. And so he started something a few years ago called Action Pistol on Tuesday nights, where he'll set up 2, 3, or 4 bays of different stages or different scenarios no shoot targets, barricades, strong hand, weak hand, and it's excellent practice if you've gotten your CPL and you're looking to put what your knowledge and your skills in use and actually hone them a little and get them better. It's a lot of fun. It's a great bunch of guys. So if you're interested in that, check that out. We also have the metallic silhouettes, which is a pistol, and they have a carbine, 22 carbine class, but it's also for pistols on the big bore range. They do that, I believe it's the fourth full weekend. They do it on Saturday and Sunday. The fourth full weekend of the month, I want to say April through October. And that's a lot of fun, too, if you want to come and check that out.
Well, Arnie, we're out of time for this first segment, but when we come back, let's go ahead. I want to talk a little bit more about this action pistol thing, because, of course, that interests me, and then you can educate me about about shotguns and trap, because that is totally foreign to me. So, okay, folks, we've got a 2-minute break coming up. While we are away, go ahead and check out our sponsors, firearmslegal.com/MidwestTactical, and then elitefirearms.us, and also check out centershotgunrange.com. When we come back, we'll be talking again with Arnie Conklin, president of Berry County Conservation Club. This is Skip Coryell on the Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
This is Felix Coryell on the Home Defense Show. Always use guns safely and wisely. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, folks, I want to tell you about my book, Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and their families. My new book lays it out step by step. It'll teach you how to protect and defend the ones you love. Get the benefit of 17 years of teaching experience and a lifetime of training for this important role in society and in your family. You can get Civilian Combat real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell Civilian Combat, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book by yours truly, Skip Coryell.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if life was like the movies and the good guys always won? In today's world, if you're forced to use your firearm to protect yourself, you will need protection. Firearms Legal Protection is here for you. FLP provides you with seasoned, experienced attorneys that handle your criminal and civil matters as a result of you protecting yourself. FirearmsLegal.com provides its members with uncapped attorney's fees, bail bond protection, and coverage in all 50 states. We are not a reimbursement plan. You can access uncapped attorney's fees for as low as $10 a month. Firearms Legal members are provided with educational services, training videos, and access to our vast national attorney network. While you're protecting yourself, let Firearms Legal protect you.
Listen up, folks. This is important. There are plenty of legal protection services out there, but none will protect you as well as Firearms Legal Protection. This is the one I use and the only one I recommend. Visit firearmslegal.com/MidwestTactical and protect your family now. Would you like to take your tactical and marksmanship training to the next level? If the answer is yes, you need to check out Center Shot Indoor Gun Range just south of Grand Rapids, conveniently located off US 131. Center Shot is one of the most advanced firing ranges in Michigan. Center Shot firing lanes have nearly 100 customizable shooting programs to make you better no matter what your skill level. Our advanced lanes allow a more immersive training experience to enhance your senses. Controlled lighting and target movement mean that you get the best practice and most fun out of Center Shot Indoor Gun Range. Memberships are available for as low as $150. Center Shot also offers a 10% discount to U.S. military veterans. So, no matter what the weather, hot, cold, or in between, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range is always a perfect 70 degrees. This is where I train every week, and so should you. Find out more by going to centershotgunrange.com or call them at 616-371-7468. Stay safe, and I'll see you at Center Shot Indoor Gun Range. Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. This is your host, Skip Coryell. We are speaking today with Arnie Conklin. He's the president of the Berry County Conservation Club. Now, Arnie, you mentioned the 4-H range, the archery range, the 3D range, and then you talked a little bit about action pistol. And, of course, that interests me very much. I've watched the guys shoot there. I've never personally partaken in that. But is that similar to like the IDPA shoots, or how exactly does it work? What would someone expect if they were to go there and say, okay, I want to do this?
Tuesday night, 6 o'clock, they'll start up here in April. What Bruce will do is he'll set up usually 4 pistol bays with different, I call them scenarios or stages, and they'll be laid out different every time. And there'll be barricades you'll have to shoot around. You'll have to shoot strong hand, weak hand. Sometimes you'll be shooting seated. What it was designed to do is to be fun more than anything, but it also, if you're a new person to shooting, or even if you're an experienced person shooting, when I got my CPL class, which we talked a little bit earlier in the first part of the segment, I actually took it with you back when you were still up in Middleville, and I've had to renew it twice already. That's how long ago it was. But it was a cold day too. You were talking about cold. It was the middle of February when I took that class, and we about froze to death, and the snow was up your butt. But so when I got my CPL class certificate, I wanted to go practice at the range. But me not knowing and what I should be doing, and I think that's fairly common for new people, I went down and I set up a target, and I backed up 25 paces, and I shot 2 magazines through my gun, and I shot a pretty good group, and that has nothing to do with actual real-life scenarios of what could happen. Yeah. And I did not know that, and I think a lot of people don't know that, where the action pistol is set up so that you're in different situations that are maybe outside your norm and outside your comfort zone, but it's excellent practice. I shot with them a few times, and I'd consider myself a pretty decent shot. And one of the exercises was there was a target down there about 30 yards away, and you had to shoot the target while you were walking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And everybody has when you go to shoot a pistol, you get a good solid stance, and you spread your legs shoulder width apart, and you get your shoulders into it, and you lean into it. But now take walking into that, and I had never done that before. Mm-hmm. And that was quite a new experience, because now your gun is bouncing up and down, and you're trying to shoot while you're moving. So it's actually very interesting. What they'll do is they'll break up into how many people show up. They'll break it up into like 4 squads, and each squad will have a couple safety range officers with them and a timer. And the timer basically is set up so that it gives you a sense of urgency. Nobody really. Yeah. I mean, the top few guys might compete and have bragging rights on time, but it's not the end-all, be-all to be the fastest one out there. It's to be the safest one and be able to unholster a loaded weapon and be able to hit something fairly quickly, fairly proficiently. And that's really good practice for why you got your CPL license.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, actually, it sounds really, really good. And, it's one of those things, I know you're as busy as I am, Arnie. I have been meaning to go there and shoot with Bruce and the guys for, 2 years? Mm-hmm. But I just have to make it a priority so that I actually get it. Because one of the problems that concealed carry instructors have, and myself certainly included, is you spend so much time teaching other people that you don't have enough time to practice yourself. And boy, it just sounds like the perfect setup for people who are carrying concealed. And like you said, people don't know what they don't know. And if you just stand there and poke holes in paper from 20 feet away, that's not going to prepare you for a gunfight. And it sounds like Bruce adds stress, which is a really good thing to add. When you can safely add stress, that's good. And that just the presence of that timer and knowing that you're being timed to add stress, plus when people are watching you and seeing how good or how bad you are, that adds stress as well. And
sure.
Boy, stress is a good thing when you're training.
It is. Because obviously a gunfight is going to be fairly stressful.
Yes. I've never heard of one that wasn't stressful.
Right.
Well.
But no, it's excellent practice if you're looking to hone your skills and become better and more comfortable with your firearm and yourself. It's a lot of fun too. There's usually All summer, last summer, we had anywhere between 25 and 45 people show up, and usually there's a half a dozen, female participants too. So it's not just for the guys, and everybody seems to have a great time. So
yeah, that does sound great. How do they get started up in that?
Probably the best bet, if you go to our website and you look up Buse Bueller, who's in charge of the action pistol and in charge of the cowboy action. I believe his number's on there, and they also do a lot of their communicating through our Facebook page, which I don't use as much as I do our website, and it seems like the action pistol guys use the Facebook page to communicate and let them know what's going on. He does have a couple of specialized shoots through the summer just for fun. He has like a revolver shoot. Instead of semi-auto, you can bring your revolver. He has a 22 shoot. And he started a new thing with the 22 rifle pistol combination shoot, like a two-gun with just 22s on certain Saturdays during the year. And that seems to be taken off pretty good, too.
Oh, wow. You haven't mentioned, you mentioned the cowboy action shoot, but tell people exactly what is that?
The Cowboy Action Shooters, it's an organization that's ran by the SAS organization, which is a single action shooting society. And what they do is they do like a 3-gun shoot. You'll shoot handgun, rifle, and shotgun. But the criteria is the guns that you use have to be an exact replica or a gun manufactured before 1900. So it's back in the cowboy action days. A lot of single action 6-shooters, a lot of lever action rifles, a lot of break open shotguns. You also have to wear the garb of the era. So there's a lot of cowboy hats and a lot of chaps and a lot of cowboy boots and spurs. And you have a moniker that you register as that you're, Tennessee Slim or somebody like that. And that's what everybody calls you during the shoot. So you're in character.
Wow.
You're in character the whole time, but you're also competing. And that's quite popular. There's about 3 or 4 groups around the state that get together and do that and have their own. We're the Double Barrel Gang is the name of the club at the Berry County Conservation Club. They shoot all over. They shoot over by Detroit, and they shoot half a dozen places around here.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So obviously, my M&P 9 Performance Center with the Trigicon RMR sight is probably not going to cut it for that.
I don't think that would be considered legal, no.
Well, okay. I've watched those guys shoot when I'm out there doing a class at the same time. They're down there on the far end, and they are a lot of fun to watch. And I did run through one of the course. They had a special day where you could just go through there and they would let you shoot their guns, and it was quite fun.
Yes.
So, and how do people get a hold of or someone to do that?
Well, our website that I put up a couple years ago is called HastingsGunClub.com, all one word, all lowercase, and there's a lot of information on there about what our normal activities are and our location and some email addresses and some links. And Bruce's name and number is on there for the action pistol and for the cowboy action shooting.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a fun thing to do as well. Now, let's talk about shotguns here. I mean, my experience with shotguns is rabbit hunting, pheasant hunting, grouse hunting, things like that. The shotgun that I have for home defense. But trap shooting, boy, that is a little bit out of my element, but I know you've had some experience. We got about 4 or 5 minutes here. Talk about trap shooting. What do you guys do there? How does it work?
Well, Saturdays at 1 o'clock is our normal day for just open trap practice. And you can come and you can pay $4 if you're a non-member for a round. And you can buy a trap card if you were a member, which is a little bit more reduced. Averages out to about $3.33 a round. And that's a round of 25 birds, and you'll shoot at 5 different stations, shoot 5 birds from each station, and then you rotate with 4 other shooters at a time. So there's 5 people out there shooting at a time. The guys are really good. I I grew up shooting very accurate handguns and shot bench rest rifle for a while, and never ever thought I would compete with a shotgun because it just wasn't accurate enough for me. The first time that I went out there, I had been practicing in my backyard a little bit at home, and I went out there to shoot with the guys, and I hit 9 out of 25, which was quite humbling because at home I hadn't missed. So it's a whole other animal when you go up there. But within 2 months period, I had shot my first 25 out of 25. So it comes, once you get the hang of it and once you start shooting, it's the most fun because it's an instant feedback to shooting. Now, when you're shooting paper, if it's a long ways away, it's like, did I hit that or didn't I hit that?
Yeah.
You know, and I'd go to a bench rest match and I would shoot all day and nobody would know what position they were in all day long until right at the very end when they tallied all up scores. Whereas this, you can stand there and when you pull the trigger and the target breaks, it's instant feedback. You know if you hit or you missed, and it's kind of addictive.
Yeah, reactive targets.
Right.
You know, it's a lot more fun blowing up watermelons than it is paper targets. So obviously, frankly, I would have been happy with the 9 out of 25.
Yes.
I don't know if I could do that. There must be some tricks or some techniques because your moving targets are a lot different. How do you hit that thing?
Well, when I'd shot competition handgun for accuracy and for bench rest rifle for accuracy, you live and die by your sights and your scope. And the thing that I really had a hard time struggling with and learning is the fact of when you're shooting a shotgun, you do not want to see your sights.
Oh, okay.
You want to lock your eye and your target and your focus onto the moving target. Because as soon as you bring your focus back to your bead on your shotgun, you stop moving the gun.
Oh, okay.
Because you're now focused on a stationary target, not a moving target. So if the gun fits you properly and everything is set up right, believe it or not, and it took me a hard time to trust it and to actually believe it, the gun will actually shoot where you look. So the first thing you do when the target comes out is you lock your focus on the target and you follow the target, and then you just swing the gun over and shoot. And 9 times out of 10, I don't even see my gun or my sights. You know, I practiced enough and was really into it for a few years, so I've been to some pretty large trap shoots around the country, and I was at the 3rd largest trap shoot in the world down in Columbus, Ohio, and I was having a good day, and I actually hit 99 out of 100. But in the class that I was in, there were 510 people in my class. I was probably 20th.
Oh my gosh!
With a 99. So you know, there's some pretty good shooters out there. If you can break 20 targets out of 25, you can break 25 out of 25. You have the skill. It just takes the practice and the mental practice to be able to do it after that. After that.
Well, you know, Arnie, it sounds similar to defensive shooting with a pistol, as far as, you know, instead of sometimes the target is moving, but a lot of times you're moving too. But most people, when they get in a gunfight, they're not really using their sights, at least not civilian gunfights. You know, they're coming up, they're looking at the target, they're using unsighted fire, point shooting, and so it does sound similar in that. How do you shoot 100 rounds in a day without your shoulder falling off? Because you're talking about a shotgun here.
Yeah. Well, if the shotgun fits you, it's not as bad as you'd think it would be. I've shot 500 rounds in a day, and if the shotgun fits you properly and your loads are the loads that you want to shoot that day, it's really not an issue. And trap guns are a little different than field guns because trap guns are actually made to shoot thousands and thousands of rounds. My trap gun was purchased in 1979, and we figure it's had about 375,000 rounds through it.
Wow.
Because of the people who owned it before me and as much shooting as they've done with it over the years. There's a big rock up at the club, and a lot of the club is dedicated to one of the founding members that had a lot to do with it. It was Bernie Tobias, and he used to own Bernie's gun shop in Hastings.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually his gun. He bought it in 1979, and he shot all of his ATA trap with it. And they're built to handle that much usage, and they're a little heavier, and it's not something you'd want to carry all day in the field because it is a little bit heavier. but it'll stand up to that much rigorous workout, and it just comes through like a champ. I've shot through that gun. I've shot probably 80 to 100,000 rounds through it, and I've broken one spring in the trigger mechanism, and I've replaced that myself, and it was fine.
Wow.
I've never had an issue with it. So they're made a little different, but field guns, a lot of people come out before duck season or pheasant season or whatever, and they want to get a little practice, and it's, bring your field gun. There's nothing wrong with that. They are a little lighter because they're easier to carry, and they do kick a little bit more, but if you're going to come up and shoot a couple rounds of 25, it's very tolerable. It's nothing to it.
So if someone wants to trap shoot at the gun club there, they just show up what time on Saturday?
They'll start shooting about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
There's somebody there by 1:45 to set up and everything, and then we shoot for as long as people are still interested in shooting. If it's really cold and yucky and snowy and rainy, then it might be fairly quick. If it's a nice sunny day and there are a lot of people show up, they might be up there shooting for 2, 3, 4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you guys certainly seem to have a really good time there, and I've noticed from time to time you guys put on a potluck or a really good feed there as well.
Yeah, the second Friday of every month, starting at 5 in the afternoon. So it's an evening shoot because we have lights there and we're set up for it. We have what we call a Calcutta, which is a great way to practice your shooting and to meet new people. It starts at 5, second Friday of every month from April through December.
Mm-hmm.
You come and we shoot a few what they call protections, but you're shooting with another person. You're shooting as a team. So you and I are a team. If I shoot at the target and I miss it, you get a chance to pick me up and back me up. And then same way, you'll call for the bird and you'll shoot, and if you miss, I get a chance to back you up. So we're shooting as a team with a team score. And it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to meet new people and to meet other shooters and just have a good time.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it. Just a little bit of tactical advice here, Arnie. If you and I are ever a team in a Calcutta, you shoot first and don't miss, okay?
That sounds like a plan.
All right. Well, when did Barry County Conservation Club get started? Do you know? Because it's been there as long as I've known.
Well, I talked to some of the old-timers, and I'm soon becoming an old-timer myself.
We all are, right?
Some of the old-timers, I believe that it was first founded as a shooting club back in the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And from what the old-timers tell me, they had a trap field there, and on a Friday night, it was a place for the whole family to come.
Oh, wow.
It was quite active. There were a lot of people would show up because it was before drive-in movie theaters and before the internet and before television. I mean, not before television, but yeah, kind of before television. It was the thing to do on a Friday night.
Yeah.
They would go and bring a picnic lunch, and they'd come out there and they'd visit with all their neighbors and all their friends, and they would have a trap shoot, and they would shoot for prizes like steaks and turkey breasts, and they used to actually have a freezer there that was full of different kinds of meat, and that's what you would win as a prize.
Mm-hmm.
You'd get, if you weren't very good, you'd get hot dogs. If you're really good, you'd get sirloin. And that's what they used to shoot for. They used to call them meat shoots because that's what was the prizes they used to give away.
I really like that. And one of the things I'm glad you're working with the 4-H'ers on this, because we need to get more young people involved in the shooting sports, because it seems like the media, they're largely anti-gun, and they just bombard these children from like age 5. As soon as you get in the public school system, you're bombarded with guns are bad, guns are evil. And by the time they are teenagers, man, it's like they just, no, I don't want anything to do with guns. But it's not like that. I would like it if we could get to the point where you were talking about, if we could go back in time to the 1930s, man, where families come out, shoot, have fun, that would be just awesome. Maybe that's one of the things that you guys could take on, start doing like a family shoot or something like that.
I couldn't agree more with getting the youth involved, and I'm very pro-youth as far as getting them educated and getting them understanding, because I think the whole country as a whole, the main thing with the gun issues is it's understanding what guns can be, not what guns are portrayed on television all the time. It's, guns don't have to be just to kill a person. I'm not even a big hunter. I haven't hunted in years, but I really enjoy the competition and the shooting sports with different types of firearms. And I really enjoy that. And it can be a lot of fun. And I think the kids in the 4-H group and some of the other youth groups, we have a local trap club that the last time I talked to them, they had 88 members.
Wow. And
they've won nationals a few times because they're country boys that grew up shooting, and hunting, and they're really good at it. And that's an education that I think is lacking a lot.
Yeah. Well, it all sounds good. I mean, the 4-H, the action pistol, the trap shooting, single action shooting, all of that stuff. You guys have a lot to offer there. Now, Arnie, we're out of time, but will you just one more time give people the website, how they can get involved at Berry County Conservation Club?
Well, if you go to HastingsGunClub.com, all one word, all lowercase, that's our website. It's kind of modest because I don't know that much about computers, and I'm the one that built it.
Okay.
But it does have the information on there that you need to come out and see us. If you would like to get involved with some of the other activities and take on more of a leadership role, we're always looking for people to help out with projects and to help with some of the youth and to do special events and stuff. Stop by, give me a call. My email address is on there at the website. My phone number's on there. So don't be afraid to contact us or just come out and check us out and have some fun.
All right. Well, it sounds like a great time. Arnie, I want to thank you and the Berry County Conservation Club for all that you do for our community.
No problem. I do it because I really enjoy doing it.
All right.
That's why I do it.
Hey, fantastic. Folks, we're out of time for this segment. We're going to go ahead and take a 2-minute break while we are away. Go ahead and check out HastingsGunClub.com right there in Berry County in Hastings, Michigan. We've got a 2-minute break. When we come back, in segment 4, I'll give you the wrap-up and tell you what I really think. This is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome to my dad's Home Defense Radio show. You're gonna love it.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about my book, Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book. More and more people across the country are seeing the dangers in society and are deciding to carry concealed to protect themselves and their families. My new book lays it out step by step. It'll teach you how to protect and defend the ones you love. Get the benefit of 17 years of teaching experience and a lifetime of training for this important role in society and in your family. You can get Civilian Combat real easy. Just go to Amazon.com, search on Skip Coryell Civilian Combat, and it'll pop right up there. Don't put it off any longer. Get Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry Book by yours truly, Skip Coryell.
This is Colonel Danny Gillum. I host Frontlines of Freedom, a weekly syndicated military talk radio show. One of my co-hosts is Skip Coryell, the host of this show. We cover things that impact military and veteran communities, and we do it from the veteran's perspective. The show is broadcast across the nation and is also available as a podcast on our website, frontlinesoffreedom.com. Please join Skip and me weekly on Frontlines of Freedom.
This is Skip Coryell from the Home Defense Show, and I want you to have the very best handgun that money can buy. And that's why we recommend you visit Larry Jackson at Elite Firearms and Training. As a concealed carry instructor, I see people every week out on the range with guns they can't shoot properly because they didn't know what to buy. That will never happen at Elite Firearms and Training. Larry Jackson will personally fit you with your very own personal defense pistol. So call Larry Jackson today at 616-299-8715.
Skip, now it's time for our Armed America Report.
Or
take us there, dude.
EliteFirearms.us.
All of us here at Frontlines of Freedom want our listeners to get trained and get armed in that order. We fully support the right to keep and bear arms for all law-abiding families, and we encourage you to find out about the laws governing use of deadly force in your state and follow them to the letter. And of course, don't forget to follow the rules of safety and common sense whenever you're carrying a firearm to protect the ones you love. What's the story this week, Colonel?
A man opened fire with a handgun in Louie's Grill and Bar, striking 3 people inside the restaurant from a position outside the front door. Oklahoma City Police Captain Bo Matthews told reporters, as the gunman ran from the scene, 2 bystanders got their own handguns from the trunks of their vehicles and then confronted and fatally shot the attacker outside the restaurant, Matthews said. Police said that both armed citizens were within their legal rights and will likely not be charged with a crime.
Thanks, Colonel. There is a really bizarre aspect of this attempted mass shooting event. The active shooter was wearing eye and hearing protection just like all of us avid shooters do out on the range. It's a safety rule that all of us should follow to protect our eyes and ears. This particular active shooter was wearing shooting muffs and glasses. I don't think I've ever seen that trait in an active shooter. Since most active shooters are suicidal as well as homicidal, they don't usually care about their hearing and their eyesight, since most of them commit suicide afterwards anyways. But one very common aspect of this story is this. Both armed heroes had been disarmed by their own government and were forced to retrieve their handguns from the trunk of their vehicles before engaging the active shooter. This is the case in most states, although some states now allow carry inside bars, provided you don't consume alcohol. Tennessee, Arizona, Virginia, and Georgia are 4 that I know about. At least 18 other states allow carry in restaurants that serve alcohol to varying degrees. You should check your jurisdiction to determine the laws of drinking and carrying guns in your state. Now, some people argue that guns and alcohol do not mix. Therefore, people should not be allowed to carry in an establishment that serves alcohol. But here's the problem. Their logic is flawed. They are assuming that everyone who enters a bar is going there to drink, and this just isn't the case. I am a serious non-drinker and a serious concealed carry holder. Sometimes I go into bars, not to drink, but for business meetings or to meet friends who do drink. Why should non-drinkers be disarmed simply for entering through a door? Now, granted, I certainly agree that while carrying a gun, you should not be drinking. However, this is America, and we should have the choice to decide for ourselves whether we want to carry or whether we want to drink. If these 2 men hadn't been forced to spend precious minutes rearming themselves, they could have responded to the deadly threat much quicker. Responsibly armed means carrying sober. I agree with that, but the facts are 85% of all people killed in mass shootings are killed in pistol-free zones, and that includes bars. In my opinion, we need fewer pistol-free zones and more responsibly armed citizens carrying in more places. These 2 citizens are heroes and may have saved innocent lives by virtue of their courage and quick response. America needs more responsible and well-trained citizens to carry while armed.
Wow, do I agree with you.
Okay, folks, welcome back to the Home Defense Show. There's your host, Skip Coryell. Arnie Conklin, good guy, president of Barry County Conservation Club. They've got lots of good stuff for you and your whole family there, whether you shoot pistol, shotgun, rifle. Head out to Barry County Conservation Club. You can go to hastingsgunclub.com and find out more about them. Memberships are very reasonable there. It's $50 per year, and that's for your whole family. That you and your wife, anyone living inside your home under the age of 18. And then when you renew the following year, it drops down to $40. And for you seasoned citizens, boy, I guess that would be me too. You get a discount. You get the senior rate at only $25 per year. And you can shoot there any daytime hours all through the year. It's a good deal. They treat me really good there, and I know they'll treat you really good as well at Barry County Conservation Club. Again, go to hastingsgunclub.com to check that out. If you're there, I'm sure I will see you as well. I have good news. At the beginning of the show, segment 1, I told you about Larry Jackson, his open heart surgery. That was this morning, and I just found out that he got through the surgery just fine. I got a text from Mike Maring. Mike is my assistant instructor for basic CPL classes. And Mike says, Larry had his surgery this morning and it went well. Only 3 bypasses, not the 5 they thought they would have to do. The stents he had in were completely Googled. I'm not sure. I think means they weren't working. And his body rerouted the blood flow from it. He is in ICU and doing well at this time. And then his brother, DJ, called me as well and echoed that response. So That's good news, but keep praying for Larry Jackson from EliteFirearms.us because he's going to have a long, hard recovery. And I got to tell you, if any of you know Larry, how he's going to stay inactive for about 12 weeks is beyond me. I mean, they'll have to, strap him down to a gurney to keep him from going out there and working really, really hard. But, hey, something that you got to do. To close out the show, I think rather than read something from Concealed Carry for Christians, I was looking at this on bearingarms.com. It says the meaning and history of Malone Lave. Now, Malone Lave, that's Greek. It's spelled Molonlabe. And you might be asking, well, why are you pronouncing it Lave instead of Labe? Well, that's because there is a really big disagreement between linguists when they go back to the original Greek, the original text. Was it a B or was it a V? And it's kind of mixed on that. So I think you can probably safely choose Malone Labe or Malone Lave. You're a patriot either way, but here is the story. This is the meaning in history. This is by Tom Knighton. If there's one phrase that is ubiquitous throughout the firearm community, it may well be the words Malone Lave. Ubiquitous, for you guys who don't know nothing, that means it's very common usage. Prolific. The phrase adorns stickers, rifles, and more than a few tattoos among the pro-gun crowd. I got some t-shirts. However, it also seems that a number of people aren't really familiar with the history of the phrase, nor what it represents. To get to the origins, we have to go a little ways back in history, in particular back to 480 BC. The origin of the phrase is intricately tied to the Battle of Thermopylae. There, the Persian king Xerxes wanted to invade Greece. Standing in his way was King Leonidas and 300 Spartans, and a number of Thespians and Thebans, though history often forgets them. Xerxes offered the Greeks their freedom and survival from the onslaught of his army, which reportedly numbered in the millions. Well, that's big of you. If you get out of my way, I won't kill you. Yeah, it's your country, but just get out of my way. It's my country now. When Xerxes' ambassador told Leonidas this, the Spartan king is claimed to have answered, Malone Lave. The phrase means, come and take them. When all was said and done, Leonidas was dead, as were his 300 Spartans, but tens of thousands of Xerxes' troops were also slain. Tens of thousands, wow. And that was without automatic weapons. We're talking spears and swords. I mean, that's got to be gruesome. It was said to have been so bad that the Persians started to lose all taste for war. Good. Since then, the phrase has been used as a mark of defiance. Perhaps most famously was the English translation of the phrase and its appearance on a flag at the Battle of Gonzales during the Texas Revolution. These days it serves a similar function, though. It's a more polite way to tell someone to bring it on. You see, if someone like me says those two little words, we're conveying a whole lot in a short period of time. For one thing, we're saying that we oppose any kind of gun control, that we won't lay down our arms as a tyrant demanded of free people at Thermopylae. New Zealanders, are you listening to this? Your neighbors in Australia didn't stand up. Look what happened to them. We're saying that we're committed to our cause, that we're willing to die to protect our rights and the rights of our brothers and sisters. More than that, though, it's a warning. When we say that, we're warning lawmakers that if they push too far on gun control, they're going to get a fight. It's not a declaration of war, but it's a warning that one will be coming if legislators decide they can take away our guns and ignore the Second Amendment. More than that, though, it's a warning that the Second Amendment won't go away quietly. The truth of the matter is that gun owners tend to recognize that no people become enslaved unless they're disarmed. No genocide happens unless people are disarmed. Atrocities which shock the world only happen to disarmed societies. We Americans have decided that won't be us. The difference between some of us and others is that we recognize that America isn't inherently immune to the thinking and hatred which causes these horrific events. So we stay armed to make damn sure it never happens. Folks, it could happen here. They're pushing for it now. Should such a tyrant come to power, we already know what will happen. he or she will demand our guns. They'll give us all kinds of reasons why we should. They'll likely get Congress to ban them all, and we'll be told to turn them in. In reply, all we'll likely say are 2 words: Malone Lave. Amen to that. Good article by Tom Knighton. Folks, remember that, Malone Lave, M-O-L-O-N-L-A-B-E. Do not go quietly into the night. Do not give up your human rights, your civil rights, lightly. Do not do it. There's only one reason to ban guns, and that's not to keep you safer. It's so that you can be controlled by the government. You can't let that happen, because history has taught us, well, look at the Jews. They were disarmed. Look at the Cambodians. They were disarmed. The Chinese, disarmed. All of them. The Russians, oh gosh, did Stalin, he killed millions of his own people. They were disarmed. Do not let the U.S. government disarm you. When they start going door to door to collect firearms, that's the litmus test, folks. That's when the crap hits the fan. That's when you either stand up or you bow, you kneel, you kiss the ring of the tyrant. And I will never do that. Hopefully, you will never do it either. Okay, time for me to go out and get some sunshine. And it's time for you to go out and practice. Get some shooting in. Love your spouse. Love your family. Spend time with them. Well, okay, folks, that about wraps it up for this week's episode of the Home Defense Show. Until next week, remember your purpose in life is to find something greater than yourself and serve it. Always remember, God, family, country in that order. It's important how you live, but it's equally important how you die. Your family and the ones you love need your protection, so train, always train, stay alert, stay alive. Until next week on the Home Defense Show, this is your host, Skip Coryell. God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless America. And might I add, Malone Lave. Have a good week, folks.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Home Defense Show. Now, get out there and protect the ones you love. We'll see you next week with more of the best in home defense.
Bye-bye, boys! Have fun storming the castle!